welcome back for summer preview day 2. I hope everything on day 1 yesterday was eventful and fun for all of you guys. This morning we're gonna have a few different things going on. First off, we're gonna start out with the reflection, and then after that, we're going to get into a few different presentations that we have from various campus resources. And then after that, there's going to be students are going to split off into small groups, and then families are going to stay here for a family panel. And then there's some other stuff going on later in the day, but that's pretty much it for the rest of the day too. And we'll have some other stuff going on. But does that sound good, everyone? Yeah? Awesome. So I just want to touch on reflection here for a second. So it's played a very important role in my life. It's helped me a lot grow as a person and helped me become far more grateful for the wonderful life that I'm lucky to be able to live. And in a time right now where all of you new Blue Jays and families are experiencing a lot of change, stress, and happiness, sadness, maybe even feeling a little bit scared. Lord knows I was 2 years ago when I was when in your guys' seats. I found that reflecting can be a really good way to kind of help process and deal with those emotions. And so that's what I'm here to share with you guys this morning. So without further ado, let's get started. If you're comfortable, I invite all of you to find a position that is comfortable and to close your eyes. Calm down and hear your own breathing. Take nice, deep, slow breaths. Breathe in peace and breathe out any worries or anxieties. Feel all of the anxiety of the day and sense it in your head. Feel it in your forehead and let any tension flow down into your face and then down into your neck and then down into your shoulders. Let the tension seek out of your shoulders and into your chest, then into your stomach, and then into your hips. Feel that tension seep from your hips down to your legs. With any lasting tension or worry is now through your legs and into your feet. Feel all that tension now leaving your feet and escaping into the ground. You feel at peace with all the cares, worries, and stresses of the day gone. Now think of your favorite place in the whole world. It might be by a lake, along the seashore, in the mountains, in an open field, or even simply in your own home. Wherever you can feel by yourself and truly feel at peace. First, what do you see? The trees, the surf, the field of wheat, the ripple of the stream? What sounds do you hear in this favorite place? The wind in the trees, the waves hitting the shore, or the birds in the field? What do you smell in this favorite place? the scent of pine trees, the scent of a newly harvested field, the smell of salt water from the surf. Take in all of your senses as you find yourself in this most peaceful place. Now, you find yourself all alone. No one else is around, but you don't feel lonely. You feel at peace. In the distance, you can see someone approaching. At first, you can't recognize who it is, but as they get closer, you can make out a figure walking through the forest, down the beach, or up the stream. As they get closer still, you can finally make out a face. It is the face of someone very important in your life. It could be a sibling, a parent, a friend, a role model, a loved one that's passed away, or anyone else that is important to you. When they finally reach you, they open their arms wide, wanting a hug. You both embrace each other, and you feel their love and their warmth. It is the hug that you have not only wanted, but the hug that you have needed. As you end this hug, they look at you with a concerned look on their face, and they apologize for interrupting your peace and ask you if you both can sit down and speak for a while. You both sit and you begin to talk. You talk about all the things you've experienced over the last day, over the last week, over the last month, and even over the last year. You talk about all the things that are soon to come with the upcoming school year. What excites you? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What you're stressed out about? You talk to them about how hard it is going to be to let go. You talk about how happy and proud you are. You talk about everything. It's almost as if there wasn't enough time in the world for all the things you wanted to say. After a while, a new look comes upon their face. They say that they need to be going now. You both stand up, and again, you embrace each other with more love and more warmth than the first hug. It's the best kind of hug you could have ever asked for. They let you know that they would love to talk again another time, and that they are always there for you. Then they turn and slowly walk away, down the same path through the forest, or down the shoreline, or through the same field from which they came. Their figure gradually gets smaller and smaller until you can't see them anymore. You are all alone again. Enjoy the peace. Enjoy the calm. Look at the beauty that surrounds you. Absorb your favorite place one more time. After a minute, begin to return your mind to this place where you began. But do not open your eyes quite yet. Your journey has come to an end as you return to here and now. But hold on to what just happened to you. And remember the words that your loved one said to you. Now, slowly, when you are ready, open your eyes and return to here and now. All right. Thank you all so much for participating in that. I hope it was helpful / beneficial for any of you guys. But yeah, so now moving on, starting off with the next few presentations that we're going to have. The first one is going to be about community. Oh, sorry, went too far. About community expectations. So we're going to hear from the Office of Title IX and Community Standards and Student Conduct about the expectations and opportunities to live in a positive community environment with others here at Creighton. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to them.
Good morning. I feel like I have to talk in a very pleasant voice after that reflection. Is everybody awake? Because that really brought like all of the, feelings, good feelings back. So we're going to just take a hard right and talk about community expectations. No big deal. What we will do today is just kind of walk you through who we are, kind of what we do, and really kind of give you a great kind of first touch about what we expect and who we are as an institution. I'm going to let Allison introduce herself and then I will introduce myself.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Allison Taylor, and I'm the Executive Director for our Office of Title IX and Civil Rights Compliance here at Creighton. So our office oversees any complaints of sexual assault, dating violence, stalking, discrimination for the university, and we provide resolution, investigation, resources, and programming.
And I'm Desiree Nouns. I had the opportunity to talk to your parents yesterday, but I'm so glad that we're all together. So you hear a lot of these expectations together. I am the Senior Director of Student Formation. And basically what that means is I get to not only welcome you to campus, but sometimes get to have those hard conversations when it comes to community standards. And so we want to be as transparent as possible about like I said, who we are as an institution. So we are going to talk a little bit about our pillars and our values and how those are really related to behavior and really who you are and who you want to be. So we're going to start with integrity. And I'm not going to read you this slide. I think you can all read it for yourselves. But basically, what I think about integrity is when I wake up in the morning, I look at myself in the mirror and I say, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to I'm going to try to be a good person, right? I'm going to try to do good things. And I don't care if I get kudos for it, because that's just who I am as a person. I hope nobody wakes up and is like, I'm going to go push an old lady, right? Like, I hope you don't look at yourselves in the mirror and say that. But that's really what I view as integrity. Like, you do good things, when nobody's watching. And at the end of the day, when I'm washing my face and getting ready for bed, I look at myself and I'm like, you know what? You probably could have done better today, right? You maybe were a little too stern with one of the people that you work with, or maybe you're just annoyed and, you just kind of got irritable. We really want you to kind of have this notion of, gosh, in my personal, my professional, and my academic life, I just want to do good for myself and good for others. So when we talk about what's inconsistent with this value, we're talking about some of these, and this isn't all of them. These are just some examples. Failure to comply is one of them that comes around every once in a while. So say somebody asks you to do something, say you are coming from off campus from an intimate get together and they want to talk to you because maybe there's a slight chance you've been drinking, and you decide, gosh, you know what, I'm not going to comply with you and I'm going to run away. That's why fleeing student is on there. We actually had to put that on one of our violations because students kept running away from situations. And so it's that fight or flight, right? I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm just going to book it. I'm just going to run as fast as I can. Well, we know who you are, right? So even if you run away, I know where you live. I'm going to find you. Hopefully you don't get hurt when you run away, because that's happened too. So just stay, comply, talk to us. We'll figure out what's happening. We'll figure out how to take care of you if we need to. False information, don't lie, right? Again, most of the time we know who you are. So like, I'm not a Creighton student. You have a Creighton hat on, you're wearing a Creighton shirt. Like, okay, where do you live, Kiewit? Well, are you a Creighton student or not? So it's just all of these things we really want you to think about before you do them, right? So I know that's hard in the moment, especially when that fight or flight kind of gets to us, but these are just some of those inconsistencies with that value.
Okay, our second pillar is dignity, and it's respecting and promoting the dignity of all persons. So really thinking about how are we honoring the dignity of each person on this campus? And maybe that is the way that I interact with my peers, the way that I talk to my professors, the way I resolve conflicts with someone in a respectful manner, the way I honor differences between me and someone else, but really thinking about how am I making sure that I'm honoring the dignity of each person? I'm not mistreating people. I'm not, causing them harm. I'm really thinking about who they are as an individual. And ways that maybe we don't show that respect for one another could be in a situation where maybe someone tells an offensive or crude joke to someone and it makes them really uncomfortable. In my office, that can sometimes be situations where maybe someone initiates sexual activity with someone without consent. It could be a moment in a student organization where older members of that organization are maybe mistreating some of the new members of that organization, not treating them with that dignity that they deserve. It could be a situation where maybe someone is in an argument with someone else and they escalate that argument rather than resolving it. They want to make that physical or lay hands on someone else. It's any of these actions, any of these violations up here where maybe something is happening where we're not showing that respect for one another within our Creighton community or within that larger Omaha community as well.
So community is something that you hear a lot of us say in our presentations and what we say to you and kind of who we are. And this is really probably one of the things that you as a student and you as a parent will see the most, is that this is a special community. Well, with being a part of a special community, there's some expectations, right? That's one of the reasons why we're here today. And sometimes that includes state and federal law as well. And so this is probably the one that we deal with the most. And again, I am in charge and have been for a really long time about talking and really trying to say, hey, we want you to start out with an A in behavior, right? Everybody loves that great A. And you will, and we hope that you focus on that. We want you to treat each other well. We want you to treat yourself well. But this is probably the one that we deal with, 90% of the time. And sometimes we focus on this one a lot because drugs and alcohol are not a Creighton problem. They're a societal problem. And any college in the entire nation, if they're not talking to you about that's a problem, because we want you to know that you're underage. I doubt that you're coming to college your first year at 21 years of age, right? So we just want to make sure that that we know that this is a problem, or that this is an issue, right? And that it's a violation if this happens. Okay, the other thing that I want to really make sure that you know is that THC, wax and oil, and I know that some of you are from some neighboring states where medicinal and recreational marijuana are a thing. Just leave it home with your parents. They can use it, and everything will be fine. They'll be mellow and not as, don't bring it here. When you go on breaks, don't bring it here. And when you come back next, don't bring it here. Okay, so we have had some students arrested. We want to make sure that we let you know that. And also, just keep track of your things. One of the things that we talked about yesterday is that you have grown up in a smaller town, or a town where everybody knows you, and maybe a school that's a little bit smaller, or maybe a school that's a little bit bigger. We've had students just kind of wander away from their laptop and their AirPods, and they go and they have dinner, and then they wonder why when they come back it's not there. That's a thing, right? So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of things. Get those air tags. Get all that good stuff. Procurement of alcohol and drugs is also a violation. And the reason that we want to talk to you about that is that even when you were underage, and you maybe I didn't talk about the fake ID in the first slide that I was talking about. If anybody has a fake ID and they want to just hand it over to me, I'm collecting them. I have almost all 50 states. I need Iowa. I need Nebraska. Think I need Vermont. So if anybody has those in your pocket, just come down. It'll be amnesty. I'll just put it in my pocket. But procurement of drugs, if you're using that fake ID to give alcohol to other people, that's also a violation, right? Even if you're underage yourself, you are procuring to minors. And so we just want to make sure, again, we're transparent, that that these are things that we will address.
Okay, our last standard is development, and that is thinking about how are we supporting the vocational, the professional, academic development of people within our community. So not only maybe how I treat other people, but also thinking about how am I impacting other people with my actions? Am I doing good things? Am I out there supporting my friends? Am I out there making choices that benefit my larger community? Or am I making choices that maybe impact others in a negative way, or impact the Creighton community in that negative way? So the ways that we might not be living that, when we think about development, could be allowing violations to occur. So to give you an example, if I am a first-year student and I'm living in Degelman Hall, I have a great 5th floor room, I overlook the sidewalk, I've got a great window, and my friends come over because we are going to throw water balloons out of that window because we think it's hilarious to throw them out the window. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you guys can use my window, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to get in trouble. And my friends start tossing those water balloons down. Well, am I going to get in trouble for that? Yes, right? It's my window. It's not that they snuck in there and just did this without my knowledge. I let them in. I let them do this knowing that we shouldn't be doing this. So I was allowing that violation to occur. So that would be an example of something, right? If I know this is happening. Another thing would be presence of alcohol. When we think about being in the presence of alcohol or drugs, I also have a decision sometimes to make when I'm in those moments. Maybe I'm in my friend's room, we were all hanging out, but now somebody came in and they have a bottle of vodka. And I'm thinking, do I stay here and maybe I just won't drink, but this alcohol is still present? Or do I remove myself from that situation? Because now somebody else bringing that alcohol in, is impacting me and everybody else in this room, and we could get in trouble because of this decision that somebody else made. Certainly when we think about vandalism, if somebody is destroying something within one of our residence halls, for example, or someone thinks it's really funny to rip down a bulletin board or some door tags that your RA spent a lot of time working on, that would be an act of vandalism within the hall where we're destroying something that's part of our larger community. Or noise, if I keep turning my music way, way up, even though people down the hall from me have an 8 a.m. chemistry test, they probably don't appreciate that, right? So I'm keeping those folks up. And then also off-campus incidents. I know when we talked about these standards, we really do apply them on and off campus. And off-campus behavior is something that also can come back to us and get reported to us. And that can be in a variety of venues, including athletic events, student organizations, or within the community. And when we talk about things that come to us, Desiree and I get a lot of emails. We get a lot of phone calls of people who say, hey, did you see this? Did you hear about this? Or sometimes I can be sitting at home watching a Creighton basketball game on Fox Sports 1, and guess what's on the screen right in front of me, right? A big shot of our student section. And if something is happening, that could also be somewhere where I see that on national television. So there's a lot of different ways that we might get this. We don't go seeking the information. We're not spending our time trying to get anybody in trouble with our standards of conduct. I think it's more about that integrity, going back to what Desiree was talking about earlier, that integrity of who do you want to be in college and the choices that you're making. Because again, we're not watching you 24 hours a day, we're not following you around, but we're really hoping that you independently are making those good choices for yourself and for that larger community. And we know there's going to be some roadblocks here and there. There's going to be some choices that you make that you reflect on later and think, maybe that wasn't the best choice I could have made in that moment. And that's why we have jobs, right? Like that's why we work here. I think between us, we have a combined I think we counted about 43 years of Creighton experience. So we've been here for a while. We've worked with a lot of students. We know there's going to be those moments when something happens. It does not mean that's the end of the world. That's something that we need to work through. That's something we need to talk about and figure out, how are we making those better choices and how are we growing from this experience? Like the time we figured out that the clicker doesn't quite work all the way down here.
Oh. 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 Nope. There we go. There we go. Gosh, it's way too early in the morning for me to be able to do this. So just what Allison was talking about, we know that this is easier said than done, right? In the moment, you're not going to have a little angel, Allison, a little devil Desiree on your shoulder. And I'm not just saying that because I have red hair. That we are not going to be there in those moments, right? To remind you to be like, remember in summer preview when we talked about this? So we know it's easier said than done. There's going to be a lot of triumphs that come your way. There's going to be a lot of obstacles that come your way. There's going to be a lot of decisions that you are going to have to make, and some of them for the very first time. And so we really want you to always kind of think about the what ifs, right? What if this happened? Have a plan. One of the things that I told your parents yesterday is to have those tough conversations now. So when the moment, when it happens to you, when it's right in front of you, you're like, what did I talk about? What did I think about? What did I pre-plan that I was going to do in this situation? And again, this is about your development as a person, as an adult now, an adult in your future, and again, who you want to be. We always say, a really good friend of mine says, we don't want you to be the same person when you come into Creighton as when you leave Creighton. We want you to grow. We want you to challenge yourself. We want you to be supported here, but we also know that you have a whole life to live, right? And so it starts here, and that responsibility that you have to yourself and to your community and to others is really important. Also, you've heard a lot of information yesterday. You're going to hear more information today. You know that we have resources. So if you find yourself in one of our offices, that's okay. We don't get meaner. We don't get mad. We literally have been doing this for years, and we want to make sure that we get you back on the right track, that we get you back into that classroom, that we get you back into your hall, right? So you are learning about yourself continuously.
Okay, so we thought we'd just give some examples of when we think about these decisions you're making. We went with some maybe lower level ones to just talk through here, but thinking about the choices that you're making and the impact that that could have on others. So the first example up here is maybe Desiree and I are hanging out in our residence hall and we're thinking, you know, it's kind of a rainy day. We don't have anything to do. Maybe we'll just race each other down the hallway, see who's faster. She's got heels. I think I have a shot at this, right? So maybe that'll be what we do. But there's a lot of things, right? There's other people in the hallway. Maybe my friends are studying. Maybe people are, you know, trying to enjoy a nap. Maybe somebody's like, hey, I'm going to walk out of my room and you guys are running past me. What if you knock me over, right? So what are some other things that we could do instead? And maybe it's just reframing. We're not saying, hey, don't have a good time, but could we do that differently? And maybe instead, this is the old version. Maybe instead, we could go to the KFC. We could go run on the track. We could go play some video games. We could go do something maybe a little bit different, a little bit less disruptive to our community. Part of that too is we don't want this to end badly. I think that's a lot of why we're saying making those good choices, because maybe I'm disturbing somebody in the hall, but my gosh, the worst thing, right, we could start to think about is, well, what if I damage some property? What if I break a window? What if I knock somebody over and they hurt their arm when I do that? Or what if there's other things happening now and there's a bunch of staff on the floor? So it could really be something that we're really looking to mitigate and make that better decision. Do something a little bit different just to reduce the risk that I'm going to harm somebody else, or that I could be in a situation where I'm disturbing others on my floor.
All right, the next example is, gosh, you know what? A friend from high school comes and visits you, but you don't check them into the hall. And yesterday, the living people, Bailey and Kristen, talked about why it's important to check people in, and so we know who's in the hall. So say, you know, your friend wanders off and you don't know where they are, right? They've left their cell phone and their parents are calling them, right? So one of the things that we want to make sure is that, one, we know who's in the hall. Two, what if that friend wasn't supposed to come and see you and their parents are like, they need to get home now, right? And they're found in maybe outside kind of wandering because they don't know Creighton very well. And, you know, public safety comes up on them and there's like, you're not a student here. And they're like, oh no, I'm from Kansas. And they're like, okay, well, why are you here? Oh, well, I'm staying in, you know, Degelman. And, you know, I don't know how to get back in. And so those are the kind of things that we just want to make sure that those good choices ahead of time, checking that person in so we know that they're there, that we can kind of get, you know, their parents in touch with them is really important.
Okay. And one of the other things maybe thinking about too is a lot of times we take photos of the fun that we're having and we want to remember the good times that we're having, right? So if there's a photo, maybe we're at a party, something, you know, I have a photo with a couple of friends who maybe are holding some beverages that they shouldn't be holding really in that picture until they're 21. And that photo then winds up getting posted online. My friends didn't realize that, hey, this photo is up and now people have seen this photo. And a lot of times that can also have some consequences. And that's really what we want to remind folks of, is just thinking about what we're putting out there on our social media and different accounts, and really just making sure that it is pictures that we've had permission to post, right? Because maybe if people didn't know that photo was being taken, the same way you wouldn't want that photo of yourself being posted without permission, because that can have some consequences just in terms of, you know, has someone seen that photo? As we said, we don't ask for things, but sometimes things get emailed to us or sent to us saying, hey, have you seen this online? Or somebody saw this, thought you should know about this, and have a conversation with somebody. Is that something where someone else sees that from outside? Maybe there's a summer employer who sees that, or someone from back home who sees that. And are there some consequences there? Or are you proudly holding like that fake ID in the photo? And that's an additional concern. So just not at all saying like, hey, don't post things and have a good time, but also just be aware of what you're posting and what is posted of you as well, because we always want people to make those good choices when we're putting things out on social media, on the internet, anywhere where we don't have control over that sometimes when those photos get posted.
All right. So this is our last slide. Thank you so much for your attention. And this is really for parents. We know that communication is important. You've gotten communicated a lot from admissions, and summer preview and new student orientation. You've gotten a lot of communication today from us. That will continue. We don't just kind of stop talking to you once your student is here. We will send you things. We will send you reminders. We'll send you family weekend information. We'll send you newsletters. We also know that you kind of sometimes want to know what's going on. And I know that a lot of people, because I've been in the room, have talked about FERPA. And FERPA is a really important thing for you to have a conversation with your student about. There's 3 buckets: behavioral, you can know who is in that category, right? Us, financial, and academic. So just make sure that you and your students talk to your parents about this, get that online in the nest if you want them to have access to that. And the other thing that I really want to remind you is that I know whether it's your first student that's coming to college, your middle, your last, whatever it is, this is hard. It's a hard transition for you. It's a hard transition for them. And we really have to kind of downshift as parents. And I've talked about this for years, and it didn't hit me until, and I know Dr. Wilson talks about this, until you have a son or daughter going to college on your own. And when my daughter went to college, I actually choked up when I talked about it, because we manage everything in their life from the time that they get up in the morning to the time that they go to bed. We are their managers of their time. And so to downshift into a support person is really hard. And so we know, again, it's easier said than done, but we also know that we want you to know that we will take care of your student. If you have questions, please let us know. And really, again, keep all those issues in perspective. If you have a question or you have a concern, Allison and I are always available to talk with you. There's lots of ways to get a hold of a lot of the professional staff here.
I think one thing I would probably add, just thinking about, we've talked a lot about when people come to see us, and a lot of times there's those reports. People can also come to us for good reasons too, or if there's questions, or maybe there's a concern about a friend that you have and you want to know, hey, this thing's going on, what should I do about this? Or I'm worried that somebody could get hurt, or I'm worried that someone could get in trouble for something going on. We're always happy to have those proactive conversations too. If we can help reduce the risk that something could happen, we could help intervene with someone sooner. We are also really happy to have those options. We also have really great reporting systems on campus that I just wanted to mention. We have an online reporting form that you'll learn a lot more about during Welcome Week, but it's called our Tell Someone form. That's a form that Desiree and I receive. It is something where you can report a concern for someone. You can report something that's happening. You can report something that happened to you. You can get assistance this way. So we want to make it as easy as possible to get to us if you need us, or if you're worried about someone else. So certainly we really appreciate that opportunity too.
Here's our contact information. Again, these slides are going to be online if you ever wanted to get a hold of us. But this is how you contact us, or if you have a question, you can give our offices a call. Again, thank you for your attention, and we are going to turn it over to Stacy.
All right, thank you so much. Next up, we're going to be having a presentation from someone from the Creighton Intercultural Center. So you guys are going to hear about how Creighton supports students of all identities and backgrounds, and how they can contribute to an inclusive environment here at Creighton where everyone belongs. So the session will also share about the resources and programming that is available here at Creighton and in the Creighton Intercultural Center, and then the Division of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So without further ado, I'll turn it over.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to Creighton. My name is Stacy Rafferty, and I work for the Division of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Something that we're going to do today is have a little bit of interaction, so I hope you're okay with that. But I want to tell you a little bit about me before I ask you to tell me a little bit about you. I had graduated from college like a little bit ago, like a few decades. But I've been working with college students since 2002 from all across the country. And I can tell you with 100% honesty and integrity that I love college students. I've loved college students for a long time, and I think they're the best. So I'm Mexican American, I'm married, I moved from Los Angeles, where I was born and raised, to Omaha about 12 years ago, and I really love it. It's different. It's different. If you're from the coast or somewhere warm, it's different. But I really love the environment here. I love Omaha. It's a great place to be, and I'm raising my 3 kids here. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Why are you coming to college? Why are you coming to college? So I want you to turn to the people that you came with, or if you're sitting next to someone you don't know, introduce yourself and talk about why you came to college. If you are a parent or family member like me and college was like a minute ago, you can talk about why. Try to put yourself back into these shoes that your students are in and ask yourself, why did you go to college? Real question, turn in pairs, talk about it, and then I will ask some people to share out loud. Go. All right, you can finish that comment. Great job. See, I heard so many people speaking. So now I would like to invite those voices to share in the group. Why did you come to college? Whatever year that was. Why are you coming to college? Don't be shy. Yes. Oh, you raised your hand. Thank you. Go ahead. Okay, because it's a necessary component to your career. Wonderful. Thank you. You can shout it out too if I don't see you. I'll try. To make new friends. Wonderful. What else? Pursue careers. Great. I heard you all talking. I know it's in the morning. Maybe you haven't got your Starbucks, but work with me. What else? Why are you coming to college? Expectation. Yeah, raise your hand if it was an expectation for you to come to college. It definitely was for me. I was the first in my family. Okay, what else? Someone from this side. To gain independence. It's a wonderful opportunity to kind of individuate and learn who you are without your parents monitoring you. Wonderful. What else? Someone from this area. That's right. College is where you practice and learn life lessons. That's fantastic. Great. One more from this side. Opportunities, new opportunities. It's fantastic. Here's a couple more that you guys mostly came up with, all of the ones that I came up with. to learn, to grow, my friend over here to make new friends, prepare for a good job. I heard career multiple times. I would like to propose that I think it's another opportunity to find yourself. For a lot of you, maybe this is the first time that you're going to spend away from your family for a significant amount of time. And that's a great opportunity for you to get to know who you are in this next stage of your life. I'm a millennial. I know I'm a millennial. And when I need to find things or find something out, I often ask Siri. So let's ask Siri and see what she says. Siri, can you help me find myself?
That may be beyond my abilities at the moment.
Oh, Siri, I did ask AI, and they had some really interesting paragraphs. It was like 4 pages long. I will not tell you that. But I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to look and find the deeper parts of who we are. So this is a picture of the Creighton Intercultural Student Employee Team. Look at them, aren't they great? They're just wonderful. I want to share a little bit of how these folks have gotten out of their comfort zone as just kind of an idea and an invitation for you to consider once you come back to campus in August. So Serena Martinez, that's right in the middle over there, you might know her. She's here as an orientation leader. She has found, getting out of her comfort zone, she's found community and belonging in different spaces. So she has gotten involved in campus ministry. She comes from a strong Catholic family. She also is in the pep bands. I don't know if you heard that Creighton went to the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. She got to travel with the team and play, which was really a fantastic opportunity for her and where she met her 2 best friends. Vic is local to Omaha. He is very involved in his church, but he also loves to play basketball. So I've often seen him on campus doing pickup games with anybody who's around. So that's another opportunity for him to get to know people who are different than him, that maybe he doesn't know, and playing a game that he loves. Katie, who is in the front right here, she just graduated in May. She was super involved with her sorority and doing lots of events. She graduated early. She graduated in 3 years, but still had the opportunity to get out of her comfort zone. She traveled, she studied abroad. I hope all of you get the opportunity to do that. That was a primary way where she got out of her comfort zone and was able to explore and get to know people who were very different than her. In fact, whenever I saw Katie, she was surrounded by people who either weren't the same ethnicity as her, or were a different sexual orientation than she identified as. So she is kind of like the poster child for getting out of your comfort zone and getting to know people who are different than you. And then another one, Ava, up on the top with the green shirt. She is a biracial white and Black student here on campus. She is studying abroad in Ireland this fall semester. I will miss her dearly. But she had the opportunity to join our fraternity and sorority life, and she had a fantastic fantastic experience getting to know different people who came from all over the country, and it really shaped her. So it even kind of influenced a little bit of where she wanted to go study abroad. And then finally, I'll share one last story. One of ours, have you guys heard about the Service and Justice Center? By any chance? Okay, you'll have an opportunity in a little bit later on today to get to visit with different organizations, offices here on campus. But one is the SCSJ, and they do service justice learning here locally and also take students across the country a lot of them get out of their comfort zones and learn about the Jesuit practices and principles of service while studying with other students. And it's a phenomenal program. I've worked with these students closely over the last year, and they come back different. Never, ever will you have another opportunity like you will now, to be in close proximity to over 1,000 people who are different than you, who come from different states, who have different family, maybe have different values, maybe similar values. I want to encourage you to use that opportunity. Don't squander it. It will never again will you have this kind of opportunity. There will be wonderful things ahead of you, I promise. Your parents and family members can tell you that. But college is a unique experience, and I want to encourage you to help create a sense of belonging. So with that, I would love to invite your participation. So I want you, everybody, think about a time where you felt like you belonged. It was like yes, I am in my spot. These are my people. I feel 100% at home. Draw that time into your mind. I am going to have you share with the people next to you. So get ready. Draw it to your mind. Okay. Now turn to the same group that you were talking to earlier and talk about what it felt like to feel like you belong. Okay? What does it feel like when you belong? So go ahead, turn into your groups, and then I'm going to have people share when you come back. Okay, go ahead and finish that comment. All right, I would love to invite many voices to share. What did it feel like when you felt like you belonged somewhere? Real question. The more you interact, the faster pace we can move. What? Empowered. Wonderful. Comforting. It's great. Loved. That's wonderful. Safe. It's fantastic. Okay, learn to be yourself. And then I heard somebody else. Fun. And then I see a hand back here. Did I see a hand? Oh, okay. Other? Yes? At peace? Wonderful. It's great. What else? Yes. Joy. That's wonderful. Love it. What else? Someone from this side. Seen. It's great. How many people are, raise your hand, show of hands, when you were talking in your group or the memory that came to mind involved other people? Raise your hand. Okay, I want you to look around. People have an impact on other people. So I want to tell you a little bit about Creighton. I've worked with college students since 2002, a long time ago, from California to Florida, here, and a lot of places in between. Creighton has a really special vibe to it. We work really hard to create a safe place for students to come and enjoy themselves, find themselves, get to know people who are different than them, and make mistakes because we all do. I'm a professional in the equity, diversity, and inclusion field, and I make mistakes. We all do. But we're still trying to create that environment of belonging. Yes? Okay. Anybody else want to share what it felt like? Just bring that happy feeling to the forefront of your mind of what it felt like to belong. Anybody else? Confident. Is that right? Okay. Anybody else want to share? Accepted. Oh, I love that one. That's a great one to end on. Okay, thank you. So while we're talking about belonging, I want to think about the flip of what it felt like to be excluded. Okay, so I want you to draw to your mind a time, recent or a long time ago, where you felt like you were excluded. You were on the outside. You weren't part of that inside joke. You were left off that text message thread. You weren't invited to that party. Think about it. I'm not going to have you share with people next to you, but I would love to hear a few people shout out what that felt like. It's harder to talk about things that aren't fun. Lonely. Yeah. Anybody else feel lonely when they felt excluded? Yeah. Okay. What else? Did I miss somebody? Belittled. Okay. What else? I'm sorry? Unimportant. Yeah, I've definitely felt that way too. Did I miss somebody over here? Rejected. Yeah. Any other person that wants to share before I close us on this part? Okay. I'm not trying to bring you down, I promise. Normally, when you see me on campus, you'll see me smiling. I love being at Creighton and I love college students. It's very true. I'm trying to show you that you actually play an important part in helping people feel like they belong at Creighton. And I am hoping that if I do my job and our division does our work, then hopefully 99% of the time here at Creighton, you will feel like you belong. That is my aim. That is my intention. Regardless of whatever you believe, people believe lots of different things. That's okay. We encourage that. But we want you to feel like you belong. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Here's a few ways that you can foster inclusive environments on campus. Here's a few opportunities where you can learn. So I'm just going to read these real quick. You can be open and practice active listening. You're going to have to listen to so many people, do so many things, and you'll meet a few hundred people. Your first week on campus, you've already met maybe over 100 people here. Since you've been here, what, 36 hours, something like that? Listen to learn something about somebody else. Ask them questions about where they're from or what they think or how their family likes to celebrate holidays if they celebrate holidays. Another one is to attend cultural and educational programs. We have a ton. Every week you will have an opportunity to get into a place where you can learn, to get out of your comfort zone, to be in an environment that is a different culture than yours. It's a great opportunity to learn. I'm going to share a little story about you. Please don't judge me, please. When I grew up in East Los Angeles in California, and I grew up in a predominantly Mexican area, right next to a predominantly Black area. I loved it, and my best friend was Filipina. So I knew and could celebrate and enjoy a lot of soul food that my friends shared with me, some of my best friends growing up. I felt like I had the Mexican stuff on lock. It was great, food, cultural stuff. And then I got to participate in a lot of family things that my best friend Gina invited me into, and she was Filipina. But I had never until college tasted Thai food. And I don't know how I lived before then. And I had never tasted Indian food. Just didn't have the opportunity, didn't know anybody of that culture, and never went to that kind of restaurant. I know that's like a super simple, small thing, but it changed me, and it changed the trajectory of what things I like and how I like to pick what restaurants or places I want to go, or what part of town I want to go to check things out. The educational and cultural programs are a great opportunity to learn. I'm sure all of you are way more cultured than I was, but if you, like me, have had maybe a limited experience of other places and people and cultures and food and celebrations, I encourage you to attend those and see what you think. And the final one is visit the Creighton Intercultural Center. So raise your hand if you've been to Brandeis. Yeah, Brandeis. The Creighton Intercultural is in the basement level or the ground level of Brandeis. So every time you go to Brandeis, you could say, oh, I'm going to go visit Stacy in the Intercultural Center. I would love that. That would make my day. But that is the place where the cultural programs happen. There's lots of students that hang out there, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. Okay, the picture here is what I would like you students, talking to the students now, this is how I want to invite you to engage your time here at Creighton, especially your first year, your first month. There's a special kind of vibe, environment. I don't even know how to fully describe it, the first like 3-4 weeks of school, where you're getting to know the campus, getting to know people. You really might be getting to know people who will be your lifelong friends. You just don't know it yet. And this is how I want to invite you to engage. Look forward, be present here, even though I know some of you may feel a little homesick. Me, being the good little Mexican girl that I was, went home every single weekend my first year of college because I was so homesick. And it definitely prevented me from being able to fully kind of engage and be on campus with my friends. So this is what the invitation that I'm inviting you into. I would love for you to kind of get to embrace and engage and experience all of these new things together. Now to the families in the rooms, parents, guardians, cousins, sisters, brothers, talking to you now. I will ask you to actually verbally say yes in a second. If you feel like you are so behind your person who's going to be a Creighton Blue Jay, I want you to say yes right now. See, look at that. All those people and so many more people that aren't in this room with you are thrilled for you, students, are behind you, will support you and give you all of the things that you need in order to thrive here on campus. But I want to invite you to consider finding people here, staff, faculty, older students that can be your people on campus too. Many of you will meet older students, other faculty you'll connect with, staff. Studies show, I won't bore you with the details, but studies indicate that college students who feel connected to another adult on campus or older student and feel like they have a strong support system are more likely to be able to finish within the whatever time, 4 years here at Creighton, and have like a successful experience if they have more people who are their people. So if you don't find your people in the first few weeks on campus, come and see me at the Creighton Intercultural Center. I will be your person because I kind of mentioned it jokingly earlier. I really do love college students, and you don't know me from anybody else, but our faculty and staff here really genuinely love and care for students. Nobody comes to work here to get rich. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We come because we care about the student. We come because we believe in the mission, because we believe in the Jesuit values, and we want to help you go set the world on fire. That is real. So come see me if you need some of that, or a high five. I love giving high fives. Okay. One more participation thing and then you're off the hook, I promise. So everybody look at this word picture, and I want you to just shout out the first thing that stands out to you. Belonging, good job. What else? Community, friends, acceptance. Say it louder. Friendship, it's great. What else? Anyone that stood out to you that hasn't been shared yet? Inclusion, I love that word. Totally give my life for that. Anybody else? Teamwork, nice. Happiness, wonderful, great. So we want you to feel like you belong here. We want you to be able to include other people. I can't express to you enough how much power you have to help somebody come along and feel like they belong or they're included. My sophomore year roommate, I haven't seen her for probably like 5 years. She called me on Wednesday to tell me she got engaged, and we got our whole roommate quad together, and she told us all about him and who he is and how excited she is. And I thought about all of you when I was talking to her, because had you asked me back then if I would have, she stood up in my wedding, I'm going to stand up in hers. I didn't know at that point that that relationship would shape me, but it did. And you will meet many people who will join on to your crew of people who will support you and encourage you. But you just never know. You never know the people that you are meeting could be your lifelong friends that you're talking to and sharing about important milestones in your life later on. And my favorite part, oops, we're gonna take a selfie because the presentation is called Finding Your Selfie. So right now, I want you all to take out your phones and take a selfie with the people that you've been talking to. And then we'll take a group one. For real, go take a selfie. Remember, everybody look cute, take that selfie. Woo. Okay. All right, this side of the room, I'm gonna take a selfie. Everybody look here. We blow these pictures up in the Intercultural Center, so you might be able to find yourself. Ready? This side of the room, 1, 2, 3. Nice. Okay, center of the room, ready? 1, 2, 3. Very nice. 1, 2, 3. All right, that was funny, I know. Last thing I want to say about pictures, document your fun times. In connection to the presentation earlier, do not do anything illegal. Okay, no illegal things, and definitely do not take pictures of illegal things, okay? Take selfies of yourself on campus doing fun things, but definitely don't do that. Yes, and this is my, oops. This is my last slide. Wow, that's really fast. Okay, so this is the Creighton Agricultural Center. Like I mentioned, it's in the basement of Brandeis. Please come visit us. We would love to welcome you to campus. This space functions as like a living room, a second space for you to come. Students study, they laugh. We have a big popcorn machine. We make popcorn for students. There's study cubicles if you want another place to study, aside from the library, your dorms. etc. The Women's Center is also located in the Creighton Intercultural Center, and they have all the things that if you identify as a woman would need. Everything, every single thing you can think of. Any questions for me before I leave you all? Questions, comments? Nothing? Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to welcome you. So bienvenidos to Creighton.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to have a presentation from the Student Leadership and Involvement Center to learn about ways that you and your student can engage on campus and create communities. The presentation will provide you with any information on how to get involved, programs being offered, and Welcome Week and Move-In coming up here in the fall. So I'll hand it over to Katie Kelsey.
Thanks, Joseph.
Good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I'm gonna have everybody stand up and just shake it out for a hot second. Right? We've been sitting a little bit. Let's shake it out, shake it out. All right. So as Joseph mentioned, my name is Katie Kelsey, and I serve as the Senior Director for Engagement and Belonging here at Creighton, which means that I have the opportunity to work with students and work with staff who work with students in a variety of capacities to help build community here on campus. So whether that be living on our residence halls and the communities that we build within those floors and within those buildings, or whether it be outside of the classroom and how you engage in clubs and activities and different programs, I have the opportunity to work with students to help create those opportunities for them to help Creighton feel a little bit more like home and a place that they can be authentically themselves. To start our presentation though today, research has shown us that there are 5 key components to a student feeling like they belong on a college campus. I'm going to focus on number 4 today, but you can see the other 4 up there as well about a seamless student experience. So when we talk about that holistic learning experience at Creighton, that's what we're talking about, that connection between the inside of the classroom and the outside of the classroom coming together. When a student is thriving with their mental health and well-being, when they have an active and engaged learning environment, meaning that when they are actively engaged in the classroom, they feel a stronger sense of belonging. When they're connected co-curricularly, and also when, as Stacy just mentioned, when there is a faculty or a staff mentor along the way, all those things help a student feel a little bit more like they belong in this setting. So one of the ways that Creighton is going to start to engage students right away in this idea of a sense of belonging and a part of the community is that we're going to ask you to take the Clifton Strengths for Students assessment, which is Gallup's Strength Finder. If any of you are familiar with Gallup, it's going to be an assessment that we ask you to take that's going to pull out your top gifts and talents. So you're going to get a report back that tells you what top 5 things are you strongest in, or what top 5 things come naturally to you, right? So this is my report. You can see my number 1 is a ranger. You can see my number 2 is positivity. You can kind of see my numbers throughout. There are 34 strengths in total. You have all 34 within you. Just your top 5 rise to the top to talk about a little bit more about what do you thrive in on a daily basis without even having to think about it. What we're going to do with these strengths is within the first year here at Creighton, we're going to talk a little bit more with you students about how do you use that when you think about your in the classroom experience and what you want to do beyond Creighton. And we're going to talk a little bit about it in terms of when you get involved in clubs and organizations, how do you use those strengths to the best of your ability? I like data. So this shows the last couple years of students at Creighton and kind of what our top 5 strengths have been across the board. What we can learn from this is that Creighton students, by and large, are hardworking. They set high goals and they're not afraid to work towards them. We know that they are problem solvers. We know that they don't like conflict. We also know that they're pretty inclusive and that they want their peers to all be engaged and that they have a strong sense of empathy when it comes towards each other. Okay, the other thing that's really important for you to know is about move-in. August 11th and 12th are going to be our first year student move-in dates. So please mark your calendars for those dates. You will have the opportunity to actually select what time and which date you move in on. So if the 11th works better for you, great, sign up for a time slot on the 11th. If the 12th works better for you, please sign up for that time slot. What's going to happen is that when you arrive on campus, you'll pull up to your residence hall or somewhere around your residence hall, and the students in the blue shirts or our Welcome Week leaders are going to swarm your car, not in an aggressive way, but in a way that's very welcoming. And they will take all your belongings up to your room. So when you arrive up there, everything that you have packed will be up there. What we will ask of all of you is please, please, please make sure that you label every box or every item that you want moved up to your room. So put your last name and your room number on it so we know exactly where to take it, okay? What I would caution you, whatever we bring up, you've got to bring down in May. So be mindful about what you pack. The other thing that I would tell families is please stay through Sunday. One of the things that I love about Creighton orientation is that while you move in on Friday or Saturday, that Saturday we have a bunch of programming for both students and families, and is a nice way to kind of say goodbye all together. So please stay through Sunday morning. Some of the things about Welcome Week that I would draw your attention to because they're important is on that Sunday evening, students, you're going to participate in a program called The Event. This is where you're going to get your game day t-shirt, which is a blue shirt that says Creighton in white letters. Actually, Emily, who's going to talk a little bit later, is wearing the shirt. You will have the opportunity to receive that shirt, which is a common shirt that every Creighton student has. That's one of our many traditions that we're going to invite you to participate in on that day. That is also where you're going to learn our fight song, participate in a bunch of activities to get to know some of your peers. We'll give you some free pizza and stuff at the end of the night. It should be a good time. Following that event, there's going to be an event called The Taste of Creighton, which is hosted by our Creighton Students Union, which is our student government, which is an opportunity for students to learn a little bit about campus resources while also sampling some of our favorite treats here on campus. So there'll be some unique things to Creighton that day that you get to taste. You'll also have a first floor meeting within your residence hall with your RA. And then on that Monday, you're going to have a convocation and keys to success, which is going to be your first step into that academic journey that you're here for. So you'll walk down the Creighton Mall or the brick pathway, you'll buff Billy's Beak right outside of Morrison, so touch his beak, and then you'll round your way into one of our buildings to hear from the deans of our colleges as they send you forth into your academic journey. Following that, there's going to be an event called CU Survival, which is a skit hosted by our Welcome Week leaders that takes you through what are some of the potential experiences that you might have as a student and what are the resources available to you should you or your friend experience something that you need a little bit more assistance with. We also have a little bit of fun, and Kara's going to talk a little bit about the glow party in a couple minutes. But we have a glow party, which is basically a big dance with a bunch of glow things. So glow sticks, glow necklaces, glow bracelets, you name it, we've probably got it. There'll be a DJ, it should be a lot of fun. We also host something called Lip Sync, which is hosted by our fraternity and sorority life community, but all of our first year students also participate in. So our fraternity and sororities will put on lip syncs. There's a lot of cheering, it's fun. Here's what gets really fun, freshmen, you also get to put on a lip sync with your RSP and a buddy RSP, so you get to perform in front of 2,000 people. Who's excited? Woo! I feel a bunch of nervousness, that's okay. And then on August 24th, we're going to have what's called Scut Shutdown. This is our involvement fair here on campus. We have about 120, 130 student organizations that will be present. If there is something not present at Scut Shutdown, you can always get on CU Involved, which is our club and organization tool, to see if it exists. If it does not, you have the opportunity to create your own club and organization here on campus, which is kind of fun. But Scut Shutdown is going to be about a 2-hour event out on our mall and within our Scut Student Center and within our fitness center, where you'll get to interact with a bunch of our clubs and organizations. There's usually also some other fun activities like a rock wall, a Ferris wheel, a petting zoo. I am crossing my fingers for that baby kangaroo to come back this year. There'll be free food and free giveaways as well. We have a variety of sports clubs and intramurals in addition to that. So if you're someone that is or was involved in sports in high school, or maybe you just like to move your body, or maybe you're just a little bit competitive, this might be the ticket for you. We have about 19 competitive sport clubs that range anything from basketball and volleyball to Quidditch, or quad ball is what we call it now. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, yes, we have Quidditch here. we're highly competitive. I think we've ranked in the top 3 national teams for the last 5 years. It's kind of crazy. It's an aggressive sport, but it's really fun to watch. We also have a ton of intramurals. So if you are like, I don't want to be as competitive as a sports club, but I still want to be a little bit competitive and move my body, we have a ton of intramurals that you can check out the full list up at the involvement fair after this session. But there's anything from pickleball to broomball to basketball to flag football, all those sorts of things that are kind of fun to meet people and be active. Some other opportunities that exist are our retreats program. So you don't have to be Catholic or Christian to go on a retreat here at Creighton. Our retreat center is about 45 minutes away from here in Omaha in a small town called Griswold, Iowa. It's a great opportunity just to get off campus for a day or 2 days if you're going for the whole weekend and be out in nature. There's a beautiful place to hike out there. It's also just a nice quiet retreat away from the chaos and stress of maybe school. We also have athletic events that students with your student ID you get into for free. So as long as it is a home Creighton event, meaning here on campus or at the CHI Center for men's basketball or some of our volleyball games, as long as you have that student ID, you get in for free. Student employment is also another way that you can engage with campus. So if you're someone that would like to make some friends, do some activity, and also earn a couple dollars, student employment might be the place for you. Handshake is the tool that we use to see all the student employment opportunities. So if you haven't had a chance yet, Handshake is a really good place to kind of start looking to see what opportunities are available in terms of a job here on campus or in the Omaha community. We have an amazing fine arts department that hosts, I think, a play and a musical every semester. So there's a lot of opportunity to either be active in the arts or just to partake in the arts in terms of watching. We have a ton of cultural events that I think Stacy probably just talked a little bit about, but truly they are amazing. We have a lot of students who want to share their culture with campus and do so in some pretty beautiful ways. Our luau is top notch. We have about 1,000 people that participate in it annually. We fly in a chef from Hawaii who cooks authentic food. Our students do authentic hula dances or traditional Hawaiian dances. It's amazing. Outside of that, though, we have a great soul food dinner. We have Diwali's Light Festival. So there's a lot of really neat things that we have here on campus. And then last but not least, we host late night programming. So on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, if you're looking for something fun to do, a couple times a month, we host events that are meant to be kind of study breaks or meant to be just kind of breaks and a way to meet people. So we do things like laser tag. We take people off campus for putt-putting. We'll take people off campus to go to the Luminarian, which I think Kara will talk about a little bit later here. So we've got a lot of different fun things planned for this fall semester already. Another way that a number of our students choose to engage with us is through fraternity and sorority life. So about 40% of Creighton's undergrad population does participate in fraternity and sorority life. We have 6 fraternities and 9 sororities present on campus. We just added a sorority, so this needs to be updated. But the thing that I love about fraternity and sorority life here at Creighton is that it is not the same as what you see in the movies. So if you're thinking about the House Bunny or you're thinking about Animal House or any of those things that portray FSL as a hot mess, I promise you Creighton is not that way. We actually are really focused on academics, on service, on philanthropy. Our FSL community actually annually has a higher GPA than that of the all undergrad population here at Creighton. They complete thousands and thousands of service hours. They raise thousands of dollars for the local community. They do a lot of good here on our campus. They also build really strong brotherhood and sisterhood. The one thing that I would mention about fraternity and sorority life here at Creighton is that we have something called deferred recruitment, which means that we don't even start to think about recruitment until January of every year. So we want you students to first come to Creighton, get acclimated to what it means to be a Creighton student, get your feet on the ground academically, make a bunch of friends. And then if fraternity and sorority life is the right thing for you, or if you're just interested in meeting people or learning more about it, in January, you'll have the opportunity to go through recruitment. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, I am actually going to also invite 2 students who I have the opportunity to work with on a pretty regular basis through their involvement in the Creighton Students Union to talk a little bit about what CSU is and what are ways that you can engage in this opportunity. So Emily.
Hi, everyone. Really quick, if you hear literally anything that you think you might want to be involved in, come catch us at the table outside if you want more information or you want a pamphlet. We have a lot of them. So My name is Emily Meister. I'm an upcoming sophomore here at Creighton. So I was in your seat a year ago, so I know how it feels. Super exciting to get involved. A little bit about me. I'm majoring in biochemistry, which is super fun. And I'm also having minors in theology and business administration. And I get to serve as CSU's vice president for finance, which is really exciting. So that means that I get to oversee all of the funding to our undergraduate clubs and organizations, as well as our grad and professional clubs and organizations. So a little bit about CSU. If you were involved in student government in high school, or you weren't, and you think that you might want to be involved in student government in college, come talk to us. So, ways to get involved in CSU. First of all, there's House of Delegates. That is super cool. So House of Delegates works with the legislative side of CSU. So there's 4 execs, which is me, the vice president for finance, Kara, which is the vice president for programming, our president, and our executive vice president. And so we oversee House of Delegates, but we have different kinds of delegates. There's a sports delegate, there's one for like honors, different stuff like that. So you can choose what kind of delegate you want to represent. And we select you and you come to a meeting once a week and you vote on legislation that we want to pass through about Creighton's policy, different stuff like that. So it's a great way to get involved, not a super long time commitment, and your voice is heard, which is super amazing. Appropriations committee is so fun. You get to work with me. That is awesome. You should totally join. Anyway, so appropriations committee is super fun. It's a meeting a week. And so basically, like I said, I oversee all of the funding for our undergraduate clubs and organizations. And so appropriations committee are my fun group of 7 people that decide how much each club gets. So how that works is clubs come in and they have a budget and they have it broken down and everything, and they present to us, and then we delegate about it and they vote on a number, and I take that to House of Delegates and Senate, and that gets voted on. So that's super fun. If you're interested in the finance side of it, that'd be super cool. You don't have to be in the business school to do it. I'm not, but it's super fun. Program board and street team, Kara's gonna talk about that. Almost everything that you see on Creighton's campus, that's like a fun program board event, food trucks, going out like to putt or laser tag. Kara plans all of that. So she has a really big job, but she's really amazing at it, and you should go to all of her events. University committees are also super cool. So that's kind of like House of Delegates. But you get to engage with faculty on that one. So there's different university committees, like the University Committee on Student Life and Policy, the Status of Women in Creighton, different cultural university committees, which are super awesome. That is 2 meetings 2 meetings a month, sorry. And you get to engage with faculty that way, and different organizations bring legislation to you, and you work with faculty to pass that through Creighton's upper body, which is super cool. So that's kind of all about CSU. It is super cool. It's super fun. I think we're really fun. So if you're interested interested in student government, interested in street team, kind of what Kara's gonna talk about, I'm so sorry. Or anything that Katie talked about, come grab us outside. We're so happy to talk to you about all of it, as you can probably tell. So yeah, Kara.
As Emily said, I'm Kara House. I'm a rising junior, and I'm majoring in management and marketing, and then minoring in graphic design. And I am the VP for programming, and I oversee program board. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. If it works. Okay, so you might be wondering what program board is. Program board is like any event that we host on campus that's free for the undergraduate students. And before I get into that, I want the students to pull out their phones because program board is doing a giveaway for you guys. Okay, so when you pull it out, pull up Instagram, go to search, and please put in CSU program board and follow the Instagram. And then that's all you have to do. And then you'll get enrolled into either your choice of Beats headphones or a Bose speaker. And then we'll DM the winner come later today, and then you guys get to pick what you want. So that's there's more giveaways that'll come around homecoming week. We do a lot of more free stuff for you guys every Wednesday. During like 1:30 to 3:30, we give you free stuff during the school days, during classes. It could be an activity, a little food item, a little snack. And then we also do our biggest event is Followpalooza. And I know I talked to a couple of you guys about that. And that's basically we bring an artist for you guys, the undergraduate students, for free, and they perform for you guys. So some artists that we've had, last year we had Bryce Vine, we had Saint Motel, we had Jason Derulo in the past, a long while ago, we have the Black Eyed Peas. That's a big one. We bring whoever you guys want to see, and we just try and make you guys enjoy campus a little bit more. And then, like Katie and Emily said, we also do late night events. So that's depending on it, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we host events for you guys, whether that be for you guys, we can take you guys ice skating in the winter. We're planning to bring you guys to the Q at Luminarium. That just opened up recently this fall, so we'll bring you there. And then any events that you guys do, you guys can suggest it and we'll try and bring it to you guys. And then what else? If you guys are interested, we have street team applications open in August 15th. If you guys are interested, it's just like an easy way to get involved in campus. Basically, you just help out with the coordinators and the events, then you get first pick to whatever event that we have. And that can also be to the Orpheum as well. And then one more thing. With the Instagram, that's our main communication for how we show you guys what events we're having and when they are. And then currently we're working on a texting service so we can text you guys when stuff is happening, when giveaways are happening, and just an easier way to communicate with you guys on events that you guys want to. So yeah.
Thanks, Kara and Emily. Let's give them a round of applause. So you may be thinking to yourself, that's a lot of information. How am I ever going to keep track of when all these dates are? The Student Leadership and Involvement Center sends out a communication twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to all students that have updates about what's going on that week or in the next couple of weeks. It'll have important resources, but it will also have the list of events that we have going on for the next like 10-ish days. Families, if you're interested in it, it does not get sent to you, but it is posted online. So you have the opportunity to also see what's happening on campus, should you want to know what those things are. And then some other just kind of important dates for you to mark your calendars on, and we'll send this out to you so you don't necessarily need to take a picture of it if you don't want to. But the move-in dates are up there when Welcome Week begins, our Paint or Glow party, Scott Shutdown, Homecoming, Family Weekend, all that sort of stuff will be coming to you shortly. If you have any questions, Kara, Emily, and I will be back up at our table around 11:30. We look forward to seeing you. Welcome to Creighton, and go Jays.
All right, thank you so much. So that concludes the presentations that we have going on for this for today. Now what's going to happen is students, you're going to be dismissed to go have some small group time with your small group. So your guides will be out in the atrium at the spot they should have told you where to meet at. Families, you guys stay here. We're going to have a family panel in just a few minutes, but students, you are dismissed. And students, you need to be back here at 11:30, but your guides will bring you back here as well. So. Forgot to turn the mic on. All right, everyone. So welcome to Family Panel. Thank you all for attending. how this is going to work is we're going to have our lovely guides, now panelists, answering any questions that you guys have. How you're going to be asking questions is you're going to text this phone number, 402-577-0366. You're going to text that phone number any question that you have, and it'll pop up on my computer here. And I'll just moderate asking the guides the questions. But yeah, ask any question that you guys want. I'm sure, please don't feel like it's a dumb question or anything like that. I'm sure we've gotten it before. So ask away. There's loads of good questions. So, but starting off, Ella, can you start saying your name, where you're from, what you're studying, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ella Sampson. I am a sophomore from Lakeville, Minnesota, and I'm studying political science and economics.
Hi guys, I'm Mark Moss. I'm a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm studying paramedicine on a pre-med track.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ella. I'm a sophomore from Omaha, and I am studying accounting and criminal justice.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marcos. I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm gonna be a sophomore, and I'm here studying exercise science.
Hey guys, my name is Lucy. I'm a sophomore from East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I am studying exercise science on the pre-physical therapy track.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna. I'm a sophomore from Winterset, Iowa, studying biology.
Perfect. Thank you. First question I've got here. Can you guys talk about, or can I have a guide or two talk about the difference between high school and college when it comes to academics and time management, and any tips that you guys have?
Yeah, I can start with this one. So, for me personally, I found that there was a huge difference between high school academics and college academics. And the main thing is that it's more on the student to kind of get their work done because you're in class for, yes, not as much as you are in high school. However, that means that you do need to spend more hours outside of class preparing. And what that looks like is sometimes reading before class, going over slides that professors have. Sometimes they'll give out like kind of optional homework assignments that's like, hey, do these problems if you want to, but it's really helpful if you do actually do those problems and just take the initiative yourself. Yeah, so I would agree with Ella on that advice. I would also say that Creighton offers a lot of resources for help with academics in the transition from high school to college. We have drop-in tutoring, which is just you can go in without an appointment, and that is offered for a lot of science and math classes. We also have attached tutoring, which is where a student who has taken the class before will sit in, and so they actually get the content the way the professor is teaching it. So that's also really helpful. Along with that, we have a writing center for more of the humanities classes. And we have the Center for Academic Success, which can the faculty there can help you build a schedule and help you figure out how to manage your time. So that's really helpful, especially if you're not sure where to start with building a schedule.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question here. Can we go down the line with this one? What's one thing that maybe you didn't bring or you didn't think to bring while moving in, but then you realized that you should get, and so you went out to the store later and got it?
Me personally, this was just personal preference. I really like having cold water, so I didn't bring ice cube trays initially. So if your student likes having cold water, I would highly recommend doing that. Along with that, I would highly recommend bringing a Brita or something like that, where it's just kind of like a container that can filter water for you. It's just really helpful to have that in your room, in your fridge, just so you can get filtered water like right in your room.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me was bringing a tower fan. The rooms were definitely air conditioned, but sometimes you just need like some air circulation in the room. And so me and my roommate both invested in a tower fan, and it actually proved to be quite useful during the semester, just trying to circulate air in the room, which was super nice. And even it's just white noise sometimes to fall asleep too. So I would definitely recommend buying either a box fan or a tower fan.
When I was moving in, I thought that I brought enough command strips and those other little sticky things. However, that was not the case. And then when I went to Target on Dodge,
to go look for more command hooks. This was at like 10 o'clock on the night after moving all day. They were all gone because every other Creighton student had the same idea. So bring more than you think that you will need with you.
Okay, so this is something that I brought because the panelists told my mom and she wrote this down. So definitely get those pens and papers and write this one down. It's a Dollar Tree investment. It's a pool noodle. And I know that sounds really weird, but most of your student will loft their bed in their room just to acquire more room. And I did that, and per se, I had my dresser, which had all my clothes, underneath my bed. And so a pool noodle was really good because on our beds, when you loft it, that metal bed frame that holds the mattress is metal, and so it hurts. And so if you put a pool noodle, like cut it in half and then like stick it up on that bar, zip tie it, and it's just there, it's really great. And I hit my head many times, but it's like a little bumper car and just like bounces back and there's no like impact. And so that was like a really great investment. So I didn't have to get injured.
Yeah, definitely avoid those welcome week concussions. I definitely didn't think of this when I moved in, but I had my parents go and buy me a bath mat so I could have somewhere to lay my shower shoes on. I lived in Hewitt Hall, so it was a communal style dorm. So definitely even in Swanson, you're gonna be wearing shower shoes, I would think, right? Yeah, I hope so. So just somewhere to put your wet things, so there's like no mold or anything gross or puddles in your room.
One thing I forgot and just kind of acquired throughout the year was just very simple, like medications. So like cold and flu medications, Advil, Tylenol, things like that. Also like Band-Aids, you will really want them. And like when you don't have them, when you really need them, it's kind of a hard time. So I would highly recommend just bringing some basics in small amounts in case you get sick or anything.
Awesome, thank you. And then Mark, can you talk about what paramedicine is specifically and how it's a little bit different than nursing?
So paramedicine is a program offered through our nursing program or through a nursing school here. And so it's kind of different because it's not a traditional nursing style. So typically nursing students will go their first 2 years, just academic work, and then go through 2 years of clinicals. But paramedicine kind of works differently than that. So we go through traditional coursework. So we go through Magis. We go through 2 additional classes through nursing school that we have to do. And then for a full year dedicated, for 1 semester for your fall semester, spring semester, and a summer semester, you would take 18 credits your fall semester, 18 credits your spring semester, and 10 credits during the summer. So it's a full year's course that's basically dedicated to getting your paramedics license. That being said, you could go through the whole entire program and not pass. That's just how the way they have it set up by the state. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really, really cool, and it's really, really rewarding. And I would recommend it for any pre-med student.
Awesome, thank you, Mark. Next up, can I have a guide or two talk about the different aspects of each residence hall that's offered here in the fall?
Yeah, so we have 2 types of residence halls available in the fall for freshmen. We have a communal style residence hall, which is Degelman Hall. And that's going to look like just a room with a sink and then 2 beds, 2 dressers, and basically like a little shelf thing. And you're going to have 2 people in that room, and then you're going to share communal bathrooms and showers, which is, I lived in a communal style dorm, like I said, and it was the best experience I had in my freshman year. Lots of singing parties in the showers. Second, we have Swanson Hall and Graves Hall, which are going to be the suite style living. You're going to have a like common area with like a living space. No, you're not. Just kidding. You're going to have I'm thinking of McGloin Hall where we're all staying this week. You're going to have 2 rooms that are connected by a bathroom, which has 2 sinks, a shower, and a toilet. They're like doors, and then each room has a closet area. So I didn't live there, but Marcos can maybe talk about Swanson Hall.
I did in fact not live in Swanson either, but I made frequent visits. I lived in Hewitt. And yeah, basically just 2 rooms connected by a Jack and Jill bathroom. And those 2 rooms do have 2 beds, 2 dressers, 2 desks, and kind of like a little more walk-in-ish closet that you and your roommate share. And then yeah,
I will add, if you do live in Swanson or Graves, your student will be responsible for 1, buying toilet paper and 2, cleaning the bathroom. So that is something to think about.
Awesome, thank you. If you go onto Creighton's website too, if you search like Creighton residence halls, there is a virtual tour of all the rooms. You can see which each room is like as well. Next question, can we go down the line with this one? Can you guys each talk about maybe one thing that you wish that you had told yourself a year ago when you were in these new student shoes, about going to college, what that's like?
What I would have told myself is just kind of like being okay with being uncomfortable and pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. So when I first got here, I was very nervous about making new friends, being in a new environment. So what I would just tell myself is like kind of embrace that, because pretty much every student is going through the same situation where they don't know anyone or don't know many people. And we're all just kind of in the same boat with that. So just kind of embracing it, trying to meet as many people as you can, and trying to get as many new experiences as you can.
Yeah, I would say kind of embracing the change, but also being okay with failure at points. My biggest thing coming into college was the coursework, and I had a hard time adjusting to the coursework. And sometimes your student may fail a test and it may feel like the end of the world for your student. But at the end of the day, if they can take something out of that and learn something and apply it to like the next test or the next exam, or even to like future classes, there's something to get out of that experience. And so that was the same thing for me, especially my first semester. There was one particular class I didn't do necessarily well in, but I took the experiences that I had in this class and I used it for future reference, and then did a lot better in my future classes.
I would say it's okay to ask for help. Growing up and in high school, I was always the type that would refuse help from anyone. And then in college, I don't know, I guess I grew a lot as a person here at Creighton and started seeking out those resources when I need it. Visited the student counseling services first semester, went to my professor's office hours. I went to tutoring, which none of that I would have done in high school. And I think that by doing that, that made my transition to Creighton life a lot easier. And I'm just so thankful that I was like, it's okay now to ask for help.
I would say that it's okay to have an open mind and be willing to explore different options. Like I came in as a math major and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then I got to Calc 2 and it humbled me. And so then after that, I was like, all right, what are my options? And then I started exploring, talking to sophomores and juniors, kind of seeing like what's out there. And then I found exercise science. I took an intro class and I loved it so much. And now I'm an exercise science major, math minor now though. So still in there. But yeah, just kind of being open-minded just to change, and that, finding your own way through what you're truly passionate about is really important, just because that is what your student will be doing for 4 years. Yeah.
For me, coming from Massachusetts, being very far away from home, that was a really big transition for me. And it was like really hard at first. I felt like homesickness is going to hit you, I think, like no matter where you're from at a different point in time for every single person. For me, it was at the very beginning. And I remember sitting in Brandeis, the dining hall, and like on the phone with my mom, eating dinner alone. And it was like, just, it's okay to remind your student if they're eating Brandeis dinner at the dining hall alone on the phone with you, remind them they're going to be okay. Definitely, it was a really good learning experience, like being alone and then meeting friends at the dining hall also.
I would say having a fresh start is really a good thing. I came to Creighton knowing absolutely nobody from my high school came here. And if any of your students are in the same shoes, that's totally okay. And honestly, I really enjoyed having just a fresh start. And it's super easy to meet people, especially during welcome week. So if any of your students are struggling with like being stressed about meeting all new people, definitely tell them, do not worry about it. There are tons of people to meet and everyone is so excited to make a new friend.
Amazing, thank you. Next question, can I have a guy talk about research opportunities and how easy it is to get involved with those, and how you go about getting involved with it?
Yeah, so research here is kind of a big thing for undergraduate students. There's a lot of job opportunities, especially on a handshake, or even just like asking the professor that like you have a class with if you could do research with them. It's really, really simple. I was kind of the same way. Like I had always sent like emails wondering if I could like join a lab. And so I ended up finding a lab that I could join. And it's definitely a good way to get to know professors and also just like the professional staff members that are running all the research labs at the university.
Also, there's an opportunity, every pre-professional track or even major you're in is going to have like a See You Involved, and you're going to be in a group with people who have the similar interests. And that's usually where they'll post like opportunities for that type of thing. For example, I am an exercise science major, so I'm in an exercise science blue line Canvas class, and also the See You Involved, and they'll post, hey, we need a few students to research this specific topic with this professor. Is anyone available? And sometimes you're the person studying, and sometimes they want to study you. So there's a lot of opportunities, and just have your student be on all those things and keep an eye out.
Great, thank you. Next question, can you talk about what safety is like both on campus and in the surrounding area around campus?
Yeah, so safety is a big thing at Creighton. We have public safety, which are dispatchers around the campus that can help with any emergency or non-emergency. They have a specific phone number for both of those events, but they are constantly patrolling campus, and they can help with anything from like what 911 might do, or something as simple as like being locked out of your car or need to jumpstart your car. But personally, as like a woman on campus, I have never felt unsafe, and if I ever did, I would just call public safety and they would get there very quickly.
Along with that, I would just remind your students that Omaha is a city. So just using common sense when you kind of go out into the city. I've walked to the old market from campus many times with a group of friends, and I have felt safe in that group of people, but it is not very safe to like go into the city like alone at night, for example, just because it is a city. However, I would agree with Anna by saying like on campus, I personally have never felt unsafe, and public safety is always around if you need them. We also have something called a PALM device, which stands for peace of mind. And it's basically just like a button, and you can program it the way you want. So it can either like call the police if you press the button, or it can send like a fake call to your phone. So if you're in an uncomfortable situation, you can say like, "Oh, my mom is calling." So that might be something to look into if you're a little bit more worried about safety on campus. But I personally have never had any issues with that.
I can speak as a desk receptionist at a residence hall, a freshman residence hall. And I want to let you know that after 9 p.m., guests have to check into dorm, like residence halls. And then also public safety is consistently like 24/7 making rounds. They're always like, hey, Lucy, like anything bad happen? And I'm like, no, we're all good. Thank you so much. And then if something's bad, I'm like, yeah, actually, can you go check on this? And then they go, no questions asked, they'll go check. And just remember it's all safe, and if they have a problem, reach out to public safety. They're here to help.
Amazing, thank you guys. Next, can someone talk about the different meal plan options that Creighton offers and the process of switching your meal plan?
Yeah, yeah. So Creighton, basically how I like to describe it is it's a meal plan, but it has two parts. One part of it is dining dollars, and the other part are meal swipes, and they're inversely related. So whatever plan you have, if one of those things goes up, the other one goes down, and vice versa. Dining dollars are kind of just like this cash on your card that could be used at any of our dining retail places on campus. So for instance, the Starbucks in Harper. There's a Starbucks in our Scott Student Center, as well as we have convenience stores located in Lower McGloin, and as another one in Scott as well. And then there's also Wareham Food Court, which is also in the Scott Student Center. And there they have options. Coming this year, we have Qdoba, Firehouse Subs. They have Godfather's Pizza and Wings. So all these food retail places is where your student can use dining dollars. And the other half of that plan are meal swipes. And these can be used at our dining halls located at Brandeis, which is the one that your student was able to go into yesterday. And then there's also one in Lower Harper. And basically you just kind of tap your card, go in, all you can eat buffet style, you leave, that's one meal swipe. And then the last thing I like to add to is that especially for dining dollars, they do not roll over to the next semester, but it's really nice because at the end of year savings and sales at the convenience store, you can buy in bulk. And so I've seen people with like 24 packs of Red Bulls going to their room. So yeah, that's a great option if you end up having extra dining dollars.
Yeah. Also, so there's currently 3 options offered for for meal plans. So you have a 14-day, you have a 10, 14-day, and unlimited. So for your 10-day specifically, you have $1,000 dining dollars and 10 meal swipes a week. For your 14-day, you have 14 or not 14-day. For a week, you have 14 meal swipes and $600. And for your unlimited, you have obviously unlimited meal swipes and $200. And the price of all of these meal plans are $2,700, but this is subject to change, obviously, with the university cost. So it could definitely change this year, but we're still looking to see if it's going to change.
As far as changing your meal plan, like Mark said, they're all like the same price, so you can choose which one works best for your student. You just log into the Nest, and it's pretty clearly laid out within like the meal plan tab. Just like you can go on there and click one, and it's easy as that. There is a 2-week period at the beginning of the semester. You can try out different meal plans, and then after that 2-week period, once the one that you select will be the one that you have for the rest of the semester. But you can change it between like at the beginning of every semester, so you can have different ones.
Awesome, thank you. And just a quick point of clarification on safety. So our public safety, there is 2 lines you can call. There's an emergency number and a non-emergency number. They're both on the public safety website, that Creighton Public Safety website. They'll also be given to you during welcome week, so we'll have those then. We always recommend to students to call the emergency number first if you're ever in a situation that you're not wanting to be in, because they're tend to be a little bit faster than the Omaha Police Department. So usually calling public safety is the best way to go. Next question though, can a guide or two talk about what it's like meeting new people at Creighton and how easy it is in different ways you can go about meeting people?
Yeah, so when you first come to Creighton, you'll start what's called Welcome Week, which is a very loose term. It's more like 2.5 weeks, but you will be placed into like a freshman advising program called RSP, which is about roughly 20 students. So that's a great way to meet people right off the bat. You'll be going to a lot of Welcome Week activities together. Welcome Week activities are a great way to meet people. I also met a lot of my best friends in the residence halls. So just like leaving your door open, talking to people, being super social and going outside of your comfort zone is really the best advice I have. Because if you just hole up in your dorm room for the first 2 weeks and other people are making friends, you might regret it later.
Something that I would add that my roommate and I did, which I really enjoyed, was we brought with us a doorstop so we could keep our dorm room door open for the first couple weeks. And then we also bought like a little whiteboard and we put that on our door and we wrote like our Snapchat and our Instagram on it. And that was just great because like people would like go around during those first couple weeks of school and like write their social media on there. And then we could make friends that way too. Also, something that one of my professors told me that I will add is during welcome week, those first 2 weeks, I care a lot about my sleep. So like I need 8 hours a night, otherwise I don't really function very well. And so that was kind of stressful for me. Like it was a welcome week, everyone was staying up late, meeting people, and I was getting stressed out. And I feel like I missed out on a lot because I chose to go to bed. But I was talking to one of my professors one day and he was like, this is the time when everyone is looking for friends, everyone is clinging to each other. So just like maybe encourage your student during those first 2 weeks, especially to just stay up late, meet people, make those connections, because at the end of the semester, like you'll remember the friends that you made and not the extra hours of sleep that you got.
It's a good point. Thank you, Ella. All right, so next question. Can I have a guide or two talk about maybe a struggle or challenge that you went through during your freshman year and how you overcame that?
Yeah, so I got homesick. Being from California, it was really hard saying bye to my parents. I've like it's ingrained in my head. We were on the mall, hugged, turned around, and there was tears. And I was like, don't turn around, don't turn around, don't turn around, and just kept walking. And then I cried for 10 minutes, but then like I had welcome week activities, so I just moved right on. And that was really good for me actually. It was just keep busy. That's kind of how I got through that struggle. And also it was just like amazing because there's people from Creighton, there's so many different backgrounds, people from everywhere and like every place. It was really great that I was able to connect with sophomores and juniors who were also going through that same kind of like really far away from home, homesickness. I know like in my RSP that was mentioned, one of my like best friends today, she's from Seattle, and as we bonded over just kind of how far away from home we are. And so those like friendships, that community really got me through the homesick struggle, as well as welcome week, just because that's it's there to keep going and to kind of keep you busy, so you don't like ponder over it and think about that. So yeah.
I was gonna say I got really bad test taking anxiety to the point where I would like shut myself down from all my friends for like a week before an exam. So something that I did was I went to the Student Accessibility Services office, and they were super awesome and worked with me to set up a system where now I take my tests in a separate room away from the other students, and I get a time and a half. So just know that if your student does struggle with something like test anxiety, I know I'm definitely not the only one that does. Creighton does have resources like the Student Accessibility Center to help with that.
Awesome. Thank you. I've gotten a few questions from the families talking or asking about transportation. So can I have a guide talk about what it's like having a car and what it's like not having a car at Creighton?
I personally did have a car on campus. I'm only from 2 hours away, so it just made the most sense for me. But I really enjoyed having it. I would like chauffeur my friends around that didn't have cars. Parking is super easy here. There's always somewhere to park. I personally parked in a garage, and I really enjoyed that because my car wouldn't get snow on it. But no, it's super easy to park here. It's pretty easy to drive in Omaha. I learned pretty quickly. But yeah, I enjoyed having my car here, but it's also totally okay if you don't because someone else will drive you.
And to Anna's point, yes, I did not have a car when I came on campus, and I was lucky enough to have a roommate who had a car. So I basically pleaded with him at points to like drive me places, whether it's to doctor's appointments or to just like Target, just to like go grab groceries or just essentials that I needed. So your student will definitely know somebody that has a car on campus. And obviously like me and my friends would just all go at one point, either to like Target, Walmart, or just any stores that we needed. Just because it makes it a lot easier if we all consolidate ourselves and just go at the same point in the week.
A final note also, there's a lot of public transportation in Omaha as well. So we have like the Omaha Metro, and part of that, there's a bus called the Orbit that just runs up and down Dodge. We also have the Blue Jay shuttle, which is convenient for game days. They take you basically, they shuttle us from Creighton to CHI, especially when it's cold outside, but they also go around campus as well, which is really convenient. And then also, as someone who did not have a car, I kind of cling to Uber a lot. And if I had to go off campus for something like a doctor's appointment or something like that, I could just Uber off really quickly.
Also, I didn't have a car either, and public safety is more than like willing to drive your student from and like one end to a campus to the other end of campus if it's like raining, snowing, icy, whatever the case may be. Also, if you need a ride to CHI, any doctor's appointment, I think even Target, they'll bring you there. As long as you just call the non-emergency line and ask. There's no harm in trying.
Great. Thank you, Lucy. Building off of this, can I have a guy talk about the different options that Creighton provides for parking?
Yeah, so there are 3 different options. Like I said a couple minutes ago, I was in the garage, which is like the priciest option. There are multiple garages across campus, but most freshmen choose to park in the 24th Street garage. And yeah, this is an enclosed garage. You scan in with your Creighton ID, so it's very secure, and there's plenty of spots in there. And then there's surface lots, which are slightly less expensive than garage spots. And those are stationed at different spots around campus, usually close to residence halls. and those usually have a lot of parking as well. And then there's perimeter lots, which is the cheapest option. And those are just a little bit of a farther walk from most of the common places on campus, but it's still a great option, especially if you're not planning on using your car super often, but would still like it here.
Great, thank you. Now switching gears a little bit, going towards academics, can I have a guide or two talk about what it's like missing a class and having to make up that work / getting notes from someone else, something like that?
Yeah, so you'll get to know a lot of people in your class, and so you and your classmates will typically bond, whether it's just like talking just about like problems that you have, or even if it's just like small talk during class. Try to stay focused, obviously, but yeah, it's pretty easy just to like ask your friends or just people you know in the class if you miss like a class or two just because like you're sick or you just don't feel well. Like it's pretty easy just making up work, and your professors will definitely work with you, especially if you miss a class. They're pretty lenient about making sure that like you're in tune with the class and you're caught up. But yeah, obviously just make sure that you contact somebody, either your professor or somebody that you know in the class, just to like get the work that you missed.
Yeah, and to add on to that, a lot of professors in their syllabus will say what their attendance policy is and how they would best like your student to communicate with them. But really, the big thing is communicating with your professors. They really, really appreciate it if you're just very candid with them. Say, like, hey, I just need a mental health day or something, and I won't be here. And usually they will work with you a lot. But yeah, a lot of them in their syllabuses will say, like, I allow like 2 unexcused absences or something like that. And those are like no questions asked, or they'll say, this is how many excused absences I'll allow, but like obviously you need to contact them first.
Great, thank you. If you know you're gonna miss class, reach out beforehand, not after. Next question I've got here. So can I have a guy talk about what it was like switching majors or maybe having changes in what they were doing?
Yeah, so it was relatively easy to do so. I know it was really nice because what Creighton what they do is your student technically comes in not officially that major that they're doing, so kind of like undeclared, and that is really nice just because there's flexibility granted, and so I didn't go through like a formal switch because it was in my first freshman year, and so but honestly, what I kind of did was I reached out to the department chair of exercise science and had to set up a meeting with her, and we talked it through. I go, so what is like, give more information. So what does this entail? What will I learn? Like, what can I benefit from this? And she walked me through basically all my questions that I had and all my concerns. And then it was also great. So I got that perspective, but then students' perspective as well. So my welcome week leader was also an exercise science major. So hearing from a student was really nice just because that different perspective, student to faculty, and kind of getting all the information acquired. I was then kind of able to take that intro course, which I recommend as well. Almost all of our majors do have an intro course of some sort. That's kind of like a preview to what that major entails. And those are really good as well to get a feel for that. So after all that information, I was kind of then able to make the decision that I wanted to stick with this track. And so, yeah.
Great, thank you, Marcos. Up next, can we go down the line with this one? Can you guys talk about what your favorite club or campus involvement was that you got involved with freshman year?
My favorite organization that I've been a part of is this club called Blue Crew, which is basically the super fans at the men and women's basketball games and the volleyball games. If you've seen the pictures of the people screaming their heads off in the striped pants and the face paint, that is us. It's really fun. Pretty much we just like lead cheers and help kind of facilitate what the student section is doing. But it's really exciting to be at the games, especially since we are able to be courtside. So if your student is really looking forward to basketball games, I would recommend that they look into joining this organization.
Yes, so I'm also part of Blue Crew, and that has to be my favorite part of my freshman year, especially going to the basketball games and just feeling like just a normal high school student screaming your heads off like at a basketball game. It's a whole lot of fun. And you're just surrounded by a lot of people who just fit the type of energy that you need, especially around events like this. And it's also kind of cool because through certain organizations, specifically Blue Crew, around March Madness, specifically for men's and women's basketball, you get to travel with the teams. This is obviously by seniority basis, so you have to apply, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you will travel with the teams, but you definitely will at some point, if you are in Blue Crew, travel with the teams to wherever they are going to play.
My favorite club is Women in Business. I definitely recommend joining it. It's been super fun. One time like they came in and they like did a little LinkedIn workshop for us. So I got to learn a lot from that. I love that. And they even took professional headshots for us for free, which was amazing. And it's just been a great way for me to meet a lot of other girls that give me confidence and also to network with them too.
I found best buddies here at Creighton and just fell in love with that immediately. What that entails is the club members get paired with an individual in the Omaha community who has special needs. And these individuals range from children all the way to adults. So my buddy, his name is Jeff, he's 35, I believe. And I just go to where he lives, his house, and we just play and do whatever he wants to do. We do the Wii, we play basketball and volleyball. Just kind of whatever. And the whole point is that within 4 years, you kind of grow that relationship. And so, the hope is that after that, it kind of becomes like a lifelong friendship relationship. And it's also just kind of a great way to meet people as well in that club here at Creighton.
I'm part of a club called Charge. It's CHAARG. It's an all women workout group, and we'll get together once a month and no, once a week, and we'll go to different places around Omaha and Iowa. And it's like you'll go to like CrossFit, different workout places, and it helped me get my bearings around the area for sure the first like couple months of school because I had no idea where I was on the map.
Yeah, I'm pretty active involved in FSL, which is fraternity and sorority life. I'm in a sorority. I have absolutely loved my experience in it. I love the philanthropy that my sorority does and being involved in the community. We go to like local elementary schools and teach students how to read. I really love it. And I've loved meeting lots and lots of new friends, especially building connections with upperclassmen as well.
We told them not to say new student orientation because obviously it's the best campus organization, but I'll let that be. Next, can I have a guide talk about typical class sizes, what those are like, especially for those typical classes that freshmen take?
In the Hyder College of Business, my typical class size is 30 students. I know my computer science class that's required, that was a little bit bigger, that was 60, but I've not had a class over 30. And then I think as you get just more into your major, it'll just get smaller than from there. I love it because it's a lot like a high school environment. The professor's going to know if you come to class or not. It's very interactive, and I just think it's better for learning overall.
Yeah, and then I would say any like Magiscore class is typically like 20 or less people, but I'm a biology major and biology lectures are usually roughly around 100 people in a large lecture hall, and then your lab group will be smaller, and chemistry is usually around 50 people. So those are slightly bigger, but those are really the only classes offered on campus that are like large lecture hall style classes.
Sorry, I accidentally turned my mic off. Great, thank you. Next up, can we go down the line and can you guys say one thing that's a must-have to bring for your residence hall room?
I would say shower shoes, whether you're in a communal style dorm or residence hall or you're in a suite style. It's just really important to kind of protect your feet in that way. Even if you do trust your roommates very well, I would highly recommend bringing that.
I would say a laundry bag. A laundry bag for me was huge because putting my laundry in a place where it's not all over my room was super important. Especially like dragging my clothes like up the stairs or even just like throughout my like residence hall. It was definitely important, and it was a lot easier to kind of move all my stuff to and from where I needed it.
Okay, I have two. The first is a 10-foot long phone charger. It's just so convenient in the residence hall. Like it's just awesome. Get one. And then a must-have for me personally was I have a lot of clothes and I brought like way more clothes than could fit in the size of my residence hall closet because it's just a little smaller than the one that I have at home. So what I did is I brought like an extra tension rod and I zip tied it like up underneath my bed. My bed was like mid lofted. And so I used that for an extra clothes rack. And then I just bought those like 3-drawer storage containers from Walmart. And I filled those with sweatshirts. And then I just put it under my bed, put the bed skirt down. It looked super pretty. And I had a whole nother closet underneath my bed. It was great.
So I kind of have really awkward ones, but they're funny. So one of which is actually a little story, it's really short. So I was moving in and I was downstairs with some friends and I came up to my room. I was getting something from my mom and I come up to my room and I just see my mom sweeping and I'm like, what are we sweeping? And she was just sweeping, like cleaning. And I'm like, oh, and she was like, here, I got you a broom from Target. And I'm like, oh, that's random. But it actually turned out to be really nice to have. So I had a broom for my room. I had the best compliments, like you have a really clean floor. I'm like, yeah, I know. And so a broom was nice. And the other thing that she got too, which was really random because so as they mentioned, you get a sink in the I'm blanking in the communal style residence halls. And so with that sink, she bought oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Paper towels and like foam soap. And those were just nice to have when I come back from like a long day. I don't know, maybe I was eating at Brandeis. I came back and I just washed my hands in my room. I have to go out into the hall. So that was really convenient.
For me, a must-have was alternate seating in my room. So I brought a bean bag and having that was super nice. So people could just come and hang out in my room. I always had people over, my neighbors. And then I also brought batteries. Like you're gonna think you have enough batteries and then you're gonna run out and then you're not gonna have enough batteries anymore. Bring batteries.
Kind of what Marcos was saying. I'm a little bit of a clean freak, and so you need like Clorox wipes or like Microban or something so you don't get sick from like the surfaces of your room. And also, I got like Windex so I could clean my mirrors and stuff. Me and my roommate had a very strict cleaning routine in our dorm. And then also, this is a very niche item, but I went to the pet section of Target and I bought like a thing that you like usually brush like a dog with, and I used it for my carpet because my friends would just like shed their hair onto my carpet and the vacuum wouldn't pick it up. So I would like scrub my carpet and people complimented me on it all the time and like my neighbors would borrow it. So yeah, that's a very niche thing, especially for girls, but I highly recommend.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. This next question, it's for the guys. Do you guys have any recommendations for decorations that you could bring for your room since guys tend to be not the greatest when it comes to decorating their room?
Yeah, so I'm pretty standard with decorations. I mean, my room's just kind of my room. So obviously get a Creighton flag, like better represent Creighton. And I would also get like LED lights, which is pretty typical because like every teenager, from what I know, has like LED lights in the room already. So that's a must for sure. But anything else is just kind of like miscellaneous. Like my parents brought me like kind of decoration pillows around the room that I never really used. And I also had like some different like coverings and stuff for like my bed sheets and stuff. But yeah, that was really about it. Like just kind of basic stuff.
When I tell you my mother went all out in her Amazon wishlist cart, I'm not kidding. And so she got these things, and some of them which I really enjoyed. One of which, kind of already mentioned, Papasan chair, really comfy and cozy chair that usually holds one. Ended up becoming like a communal couch in my room. But there's that, and then also, she really, really she saw this on her Pinterest board and she put it in my cart and I got it. I like it actually. It was a photo wall kind of, and so it had like 2 bars and like strings in between, and then I would just like hang pictures from my friends in high school, and it was like a good like like remembrance of all the good times in high school. Now being updated with last year's pictures in the works as we speak. And then the other thing I would also that I really liked was kind of just like a carpet for my room. I mean, I had it under like my bed / with my chair area, and that was just nice to have. It was just kind of like a homey feel. But those are just like some basics, but you can definitely tell like in my room, like my side and then my roommate's side. So I thank my mom for that.
Awesome, awesome. Can someone talk about mail services here at Creighton and it's what it's like getting packages?
Yeah, so I love online shopping almost to a fault. And so for freshmen, I believe, so you would like, say you're ordering something from Amazon, you would put the address as like 2500 California Plaza, and you would put like, I lived in Kiewit, so I put Kiewit Hall, Creighton University, so they know to get it to you, and it will be delivered to Swanson Hall into like secure lockers. So your student would get an email, and then you would go to like the Swanson basement outside, and you would go and scan in, and you would scan something by the lockers, and it was like pop open your package. And any like mail or anything like that, you do have to go to a desk worker there, and that has specific hours. Also, I will say they're closed on the weekends. So if you get a package like on a Saturday, you do have to wait until Monday. But it's a very secure process and pretty like easy to work with.
Also, just a last thing I just thought of, for like mailing related, I utilized a service here at Creighton for when I moved in, coming from far away. I flew here, and so big things that I couldn't fly in a plane, I just shipped over. And what was really nice is Creighton actually put it in my room. So when I moved in, all my stuff that I had shipped here was in my room. And so I believe there's information on the website under housing for that, but also they have a number, and I just called that number as well and spoke with somebody just to kind of clarify the process of how I could go through that.
Okay, while we're on the topic of mail, and since you all are the families of the new students, I just wanted to share with you guys something that my mom did for me, which was super special. And I really think like helped me get through my freshman year. And I'll always remember is every week she sent me what she would call words of wisdom, where she would send like a little quote or something that she would write just short on a piece of paper. She'd put it in a package for me, and then she'd throw in like a little treat in there or something, or like a new hand soap. And I went to the mailroom every Monday morning, and I opened it, and it was just sweet to like hear some words of encouragement from my mom. And I love that. So maybe something to think about doing for your student too. It was really special.
Also, a big thing to help combat homesickness was care packages for me. Like it could be something as small as like, oh, I got a box of candy, or like I got like something that like I needed for school. But like whether it was something big or small, it was something that made me feel loved and thought of at home. And so whether it was like a blanket, candy, even just something for like a holiday like Valentine's Day, it was definitely really special just kind of going to get your mail at the mailroom. You're so excited, and you get to like pick up your package and open it and see what's inside. So it's always a good time, especially like when you get stuff from your parents.
Also, gift cards are really nice to put in care packages as well.
One more thing, sorry. I had a family member send me something for my birthday. I had a September birthday, and I was still in the process of making more like new friends and meeting my hallmates. And I had a family member send me those baked by Melissa cupcakes, like the really small ones. And I went around my hall, and I knocked on doors with my roommate, and was like, "Hey, do you want a cupcake? My name is Lucy." And that's how I met Anna and Ella. We all lived on the same floor, so that was really special.
Awesome, thank you. It's definitely really fun when you get the email notification that you have a package when you weren't expecting one at all. So I really loved when when that happened to me. But next question, can I have a guy talk about what it's like finding a roommate and that whole process and different ways you can go about finding a roommate?
Yeah, so I found my roommate on the housing portal, would highly recommend. We were almost like random roommates. But basically, so what she did is you can go and like it will recommend your student roommates based on compatibility scores. I think we had like an 80%. It was really good. Um, and this you can like message them specifically. She reached out to me and said, "Hey, like I would love to talk to you more about being roommates." And then we kind of like switched it over to Instagram, so it's a little less informal. But yeah, I would highly recommend. You can also do like a random roommate on the housing portal. So that's a great resource to utilize.
I found my roommates on social media. Um, And so if your student hasn't already, I would recommend encouraging them to like make a post in a Facebook group or on an Instagram page. Um, and that's also a great way to just kind of have them reach out to people and make new friends, not just simply finding a roommate. But one other thing to mention with roommates is that at the beginning of the year, you will do a roommate agreement with your resident advisor. Um, so that is really helpful because you kind of just go over like, this is the time I want people out of my room. This is how clean I want the room to be. So then if one roommate does kind of not follow those rules that you set, then you are able to kind of go back to that contract and say you did sign this at the beginning of the year. So that's really helpful in alleviating any conflict that comes up with roommates.
Also, something to mention, so my freshman year, I was in a freshman leadership program. So depending on the program that your student is in, whether it's honors or freshman leadership program, your student will automatically be filtered to people who are already in the program. So with these programs in particular, you have to room with somebody who's in it. So applies to honors and freshman leadership program. So your student will automatically be filtered to the people that are already in the program. And so it's super easy just finding somebody in the program. And you get to know all the students, especially, so which is really nice.
Awesome, thank you. Communication is always key when it comes to anything regarding roommates, so just keeping that in mind. Last question, can we go down the line with this one? What's one piece of advice that you would give to these families and to the new students coming into Creighton here in the fall?
As far as families go, I would say like first like week or so that they are moving in, just give them a little more grace if they are not responding to text right away or not calling you back right away. Welcome week, especially for like Creighton, is just very, very busy with a lot going on. So if they are not like responding right away, just give them a little bit of grace there. For students, I would say make sure to kind of leave time outside of academics to kind of go have new experiences. It can be easy with the transition to college academics to kind of just get caught up in all of that, but it is really important to take breaks.
I would say from a parent side of things, I actually just talked to my mom the other day, and so we were having a conversation about this, about being in summer preview, especially starting freshman year. And so kind of her recommendation to other parents is love your student, push them in ways to kind of find themselves and push them in uncomfortable ways to make sure that they do things that obviously that are uncomfortable for them, but make them grow as people. But also just be willing to give grace when it's needed, especially when it's like if they're in a vulnerable spot, like they just failed a test or they're just kind of in a slump with classes, like give them the grace that they need, especially since they're in a place where they typically haven't been for most of their lives, let alone around the people that most of the time they don't know.
My advice is just to work hard and play hard. Like, yeah, everyone's here for school and school comes first. That's really important. But I had one of the best years of my life here at Creighton because I went out and did all the things and it was so fun. I met so many amazing people, had so many cool experiences. So
My advice is for you parents. My mom always kind of just like, I don't want to say thought like a step ahead of me, but kind of did. Just always had like really good advice or really good things that I wouldn't think about. I mean, some were as easy as like when I was going through it, like my midlife crisis of getting a major change. She was like there to like walk me through that. Or it could be like even something just as like silly as like she would be like, take the morning flight home so you can get into Omaha and have time the rest of your day. Just things that like, I don't know, your student wouldn't really think about because I didn't think about those things, but she was like always on top of it. And kind of had just like really random pieces of advice, but that were actually just really helpful looking back at it as well.
For families, I would say be open if your student comes back after their first on their first break and they're different. I don't recognize like my senior year self. I'm totally a different person, and thanks to Creighton and all the opportunities, I can say that I'm in a really good place and I love it here. For students, I'd say take that leap.
Yeah, so I would say don't be afraid to let your student like have a little freedom, spread their wings a little bit. I was the first kid in my family to go to college. And so it was a new experience for my parents and they were really stressed about it, but they like quickly learned that like Creighton is such a good place to send freshmen and they're so welcoming and there's such a good community here that like it was a very easy transition going from like high school and being with your family to college. And for students, I would say go to class, participate, do your homework, all the things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Can we give our panelists a wonderful round of applause? You guys did great. Also want to thank all of you families so much for participating. I had literally a million questions up here that I could have asked. And so that makes my job a lot easier. So I really appreciate that. But thank you so much. And if there's any questions that you guys had that weren't able to be answered, please come and find me or any of the other execs in these light blue polos, or obviously the guides as well. Go up and ask them. We all love answering questions. So please just come and ask us. But now the students are going to come back in. Families, can you sit tight for a minute? We're going to have just like a little closing thing once all the students get back in.
He doesn't want your germs.
All right, everyone, we're gonna get started here in just a second. If you could all find your seats. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, well, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for being such great students and families and paying attention all morning with all the presentations, family panel. But now I'm going to turn it over to our coordinator, Matt, and he's going to give you a little closing. So I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Joseph. So I just want to start off with saying thank you to everyone for listening to all the presentations and our panelists to kind of close out summer preview. And if they've prompted you with any questions, please feel free to ask any of us in the polos or the student leader shirts, and they'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So it's been an honor and a privilege to have welcomed you all through freshman orientation this summer. And I hope that summer previews allowed you to better prepare for the upcoming school year. Whether you're a student getting ready for your first year in college or a family member getting ready to send your student off to their next stop in life. Amy, the other coordinator, talked yesterday morning about our theme and how it relates to new student orientation. And I'd like to take this time to reinvite you to sit with our theme and quote again as summer preview comes to a close. It reads as follows. True belonging is not passive. It's a practice that requires us to be vulnerable, get uncomfortable, and learn how to be present with people without sacrificing who we are. As you've heard and often experienced yourself, the vulnerability that comes with entering a new community can be stressful, especially when you are also trying to figure out who you are outside of that community. We hope that following summer preview and continuing your time here at Creighton, you're able to carry your vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a strength. We hope our team has also shown you how Creighton's community comes together through this vulnerability. Now, the past 2 days has only been a glimpse of what Creighton is like, and you'll experience so much more in the next 4 years, and we're so excited to take that first step with you on that journey. We encourage you to lean into new opportunities, whether that be making friends in your new classes that you'll be in, signing up for as many clubs in Shutdown in the fall, or even just exploring the city of Omaha with your new friends that you'll make here at Creighton. The following year will be filled with many challenges, and it may come to a shock at first. You'll be faced with many challenges, but you won't face them alone. As soon as you get to campus in the fall, you'll be welcomed by even more guides as you move into your resident halls. That'll be your home for the next year. You'll also be introduced to your students in your RSP, which is kind of like your introductory class to college. As you and your RSP go through your first semester, I encourage you to be vulnerable and embrace that, and also be present in your first year as you transition from your home and into Omaha. With this transition, you'll find support in this group of students and other communities you step foot in as you get adjusted here. With all that being said, you still have a few months until we get to that point in the fall. From now until the first day of classes, I encourage you to spend time with your friends and family and all the other communities that you're currently in. Enjoy your summer and don't think of this change as scary, but rather as an opportunity to make your mark in a new community here. Before you head back home, I'll share with you kind of the next steps and kind of reminders with your time here at summer preview. So students, your registration for your classes officially starts at noon. You'll find that registration time on your agendas and as well as the email you received last night. Registration times, those are assigned at random and they cannot be changed right now. So please arrive to your registration location on the 4th floor in Harper where your advising appointment was, and advisors will be there to help you. And please do that 10 minutes before your time. During this time, families and parents, you can attend the information fair, tour Resident Hall Swanson, and ask any questions that you have to our guides. And now, I want to take a moment and give a round of applause and thank you to our lovely, lovely student leaders who've been with your students all throughout summer preview, and they're actually at the top of the auditorium. So now we have our campus expo information fair, and it's from now until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And this is just going to be outside of the Harper Auditorium. It's going to be filled with all of our campus partners. There's like 30 plus of them, and they're all going to be tabling and for you to browse around and ask questions to them. In addition to this, I want to say thank you one last time for kind of coming to summer preview and allowing us to welcome you to Creighton. Thank you.